one-foot journey that we all take. And you know, the Deuteronomy verse, he will not leave you, he will not fail you, he will not abandon you. It is so true. I'm going to kind of talk about Exodus, and we're going to read Exodus 33:11 through 13 together. So the Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as one would speak to a friend. And then Moses would return to camp, but his young aide Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent. Moses said to the Lord, "You have been telling me, lead these people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. You have said, I know you by name, and you have found favor with me. If you are pleased with me, teach me your ways, so I may know you and continue to find favor with you." I emphasize a few of those things. Moses had a communication, a friendship with God that was face to face, and God knew his name. You know, and Moses' relationship with the Lord and his ability to talk to him like a friend was not an overnight success. It took time. And if you read through the whole book of Exodus, you'll see that relationship had struggles. There was times where Moses doubted his abilities to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt, to be able to confront Pharaoh and demand that he release the Israelites. You know, Moses was kind of a lot like me. He'd rather be kind of in the background. Public speaking, not his forte. It's not mine either, but here we go. We're going to do this. So, you know, we're all on that same one-foot journey, and it's from our hearts to our head. You know, there's a God-shaped hole in our hearts, and it's yearning to be filled. It's aching and longing for something more, something to sustain us, to give us hope, to see things a bit differently, to be someone different than we are. More. We're always craving something more. And it cries out to the one who can sustain us, who can fill us and transform us into his image. Moses felt this calling. He knew he was different, and he knew he was meant to be more. He just didn't realize how much more. But he started with the same one step, and it's the same step that we take. So what is step one? Well, it's simply to acknowledge your need for God, ask him into your heart to be your Lord and Savior. This is the first step. And this is the first step in the transformation process. And it's the easiest step. The rest, not so much. And that's because it requires work. As I was preparing this message, I had kind of a completely different vision of my walk with the Lord. I kind of thought it was like a nice leisurely path that we were walking, and that we're all walking a similar path. It's, relatively smooth, maybe a slight incline, kind of leisurely walk through the woods. Maybe the path is paved with grass or with stones. Real pretty, similar to like that one maybe. And we take that journey one step at a time. And it's moving from our hearts to our heads. Our spirit cries out to the one who can satisfy us. And so then our journey begins. So we walk this path to our brains because we already acknowledged our need for him in our hearts. And so we begin to grow and we begin to learn. Some of us run the path and some of us more of a leisurely walk. But it's still just one step at a time. Because knowledge equals growth, and growth equals relationship. But our paths are not all the same. It's the same one-foot journey. But getting there is the hard part. So the Lord gave me a vision of my path. And it looked a lot more like a mountain than a stroll through the woods, which I thought was interesting. Because our paths are kind of more like mountains. But don't let that scare you, because you never have to walk or climb that mountain alone. I went to a multi-denominational retreat recently, and it was a good thing for me to attend. I experienced some things, and the Lord revealed some areas that I still need some work in. While I was there on Sunday, my Uncle Gene had sent me a picture of a page of a devotional book. he had no idea where I was, what God was stirring in my life, or how that page would speak to me. He told me a friend told him to send it to me. And we both know that friend was Jesus. So he sent that message to me through someone else who had no idea where I was, what I was going through, or what I was struggling with. But he sent it to encourage me on my walk up the mountain. So remember, you never, ever walk it alone. Moses had Aaron and Joshua, son of Nun, to help him on his walk. So think about the people in your life. Who in your life has been an encourager, a comfort, a support person maybe, someone just to talk to? You know, I have a pretty long list of people in my life, and I'm so thankful for. But on the top of my list is Jesus, the ultimate companion. You may feel alone at times, but you're never really alone. So what's next? We're all on this path. Some of us have mountains to climb. So are we expected to be expert rock climbers right away? Nope, of course not. Would you set out to scale Everest the moment you decide to be a mountain climber? No, that expectation would set you up for failure. And so it takes time to get to the top. You have to learn about the mountain. You have to get to know the gear that you're going to need, the tools. You have to create physical endurance, and you have to train in order to be out there. So what are some steps that we can take? What are some baby steps that we can take to start establishing a relationship with our guide as we walk up the mountain? Well, first thing is, we're going to need to stay connected. In John 15:1-2, it reads, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so it will be even more fruitful." And also in John 15, we're going to read 4-9. "So remain in me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing." So apart from being connected to Jesus, we can do nothing. So we'll pick it up in 6. "If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up and thrown into a fire and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you will bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so I loved you. Now remain in my love." So we just need to stay connected. He is the vine, we are the branches. If we're not connected, we're getting nowhere. So a little excerpt from that devotional page I was talking about earlier. It says, "Pour all of your energy into trusting me. It is through trust that you will stay connected to me, aware of my presence. Every step on your life journey can be a step of faith. Baby steps of trust are simple for you. You can take them with almost unconscious ease. Giant steps are another matter altogether. Leaping across chasms in semi-darkness, scaling cliffs of uncertainty, trudging through the valley of the shadow of death. These feats require sheer concentration as well as utter commitment to me." You know, that section kind of can be a little bit scary when we're talking about leaping across a chasm or scaling a cliff. But you know, he's not going to have you do those things until you're ready. So it's a matter of baby steps. Start developing that relationship. In Philippians 4:13 we read, "I can do all things through Christ," or through him who strengthens me. So you can do all things in Christ because he will strengthen you. And then in Romans 8:28, "And I know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Who's been called according to his purpose? Every single person in this room has been called according to God's purpose. You're here. You've taken this baby step to get here because you have that calling. You have that yearning. You're wanting to join us on that journey from your heart to your head. So stay connected to the vine in the Lord. In him we will grow and produce fruit for the kingdom. He's already designed our path. All we have to do is stay connected to him and trust and keep taking it one day at a time, one baby step at a time. So baby steps can be simple as a prayer every day. And they can be short and sweet. Lord, thanks for waking me up this morning. I appreciate it. You rock. It can be starting reading the Bible. Maybe reading a chapter might be a little intimidating for you. Start with a small devotional, a couple verses. I like to use the YouVersion Bible. I have it on my tablet. It has a ton of devotionals. And most of them are pretty short. They're, maybe 3 to 5 days. Small couple paragraphs to read, a verse or two. But it gets you started. It's one of those baby steps. I started with that. And then I added reading the whole chapter that the verse was in. And now I'm up to reading the whole Bible in a year. And I'm actually on round 2. So, you can do it. If I can do it, you guys can do it. And all it is, it's a baby step. Just taking it one day at a time. Okay, I'm going to pick up my Bible and I'm going to read a little bit. All right, on my drive to work, I'm going to pray, Lord, you know what? Thanks for waking me up. Help me to have a great day. I appreciate all that you're doing. It's simple. Baby steps. And once you keep making those baby steps, they're going to become like you're going to just do them unconsciously. You're just going to pick up that Bible and read it because it's become a habit for you. It's a baby step. You're going to be praying daily because you've established that baby step, and it just becomes part of your routine, part of what you do, part of your growing process. And he works all things for his good. So, and there are several baby steps to take to help develop that trust and that connection. So just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you're going to get there. And soon, it'll be big steps. And soon, you'll be really big steps like me up here. So when you're struggling and you're having a hard time taking that step, cry out to him. He is always there. He's got your hand. He's right there walking right along with you. Sometimes you may not realize it, but he's there. You never take this journey alone. So the next step is don't judge. Although we're all on the same path to discovering our purpose and living it out, it doesn't mean everyone is where you are, or that their baby steps are the same as yours. So while at the retreat, I was feeling really out of place, absolutely uncomfortable. And here's why. Everyone around me seemed to be mingling and comfortable and enjoying their time, outgoing, and I kind of hid in the background. I'm very much an introvert. I know some of you might not believe that because you see me around here, running around, socializing with everybody. But let me tell you, it has taken a great many years for me to get to this point. This is familiar ground to me. I'm comfortable here. Well, down there, not so much up here, but in this building with these people, this is my comfort. This is my family. When I was out there, I knew maybe a handful of people. And so it was a big step for me to be there. In fact, I was even telling Russ Friday night, we talked on the phone, and I told him, I said, you know what? I'm ready to pack my stuff and go home. This is not for me. I am not doing this. And he reassured me that I'd be fine, that I had a reason to be there that weekend, that it just hadn't been revealed yet. And I needed to stick it out. With a heavy sigh, fine, I agree, I will stay. But it wasn't really until Sunday that my purpose for being there was revealed. And I knew I was supposed to be there. I knew that I was supposed to be there, regardless of how I was feeling, because God had bulldozed anything that I had thought would be a hindrance for me to go. If it was finances, he made it happen. If it was, someone being able to just come from me and say, hey, I'm glad you're going. He put that person in my path. Getting time off from work, he made that happen. And I got paid for it too, which was amazing. So the Lord, like I said, completely bulldozed the path. So I knew I had a reason to be there. But I just had to stick it out. So another part of that devotional that I received reads, each of my children is a unique blend of temperament, giftedness, and life experiences. Something that might be a baby step for you may be a giant step for another person, and vice versa. Only I know the difficulty and ease of each segment of your journey. Beware of trying to impress others by acting if your giant steps are only baby ones. Do not judge others who are hesitant in trembling fear before an act that could be easy for you. Going to that retreat, that was a huge step for me. Like leaping across the Grand Canyon, huge, okay? And we're talking, and I kind of judged the other ladies there because it looked as if like it was a baby step for them because they were so comfortable and at ease with one another. But so for some of them, they could have been like me, and that could have been a big step for them too. See, we're all on the same journey, just different steps. And Moses, he had some huge steps in front of him too. He had to go to Pharaoh and demand that the Israelites be released. And he had to have faith in the power of God and the power that he bestowed on Moses to do the things he did, like turning his staff into a snake or calling down the plagues. Well, how about gaining the trust of the Israelites when Moses had been with Pharaoh before? Moses kind of flopped sides, but they weren't real happy to follow him. In Matthew 7, 1 through 2, we read, and if you guys can read it with me. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and the same measure you use, it will be used to you. I felt very convicted. I had judged them, the ladies at the retreat, and I kind of realized I've been judging other people in my life too. I see them from my vantage point up on my mountain, and I wonder why they're not at the same level as me. They kind of look like they're just camped out there. They're not going anywhere. And, instead of packing up and trudging on, they're very comfortable. I see, and I judge, and I wonder why they're not growing. Some of my steps have been easy for me, and others a lot harder, just like yours. And when I see them stopped, the Lord says, that's a spot that needs a little bit more work, a little more resting, a little more courage. So although your next step is not the same of mine, we are all still on that 1 foot journey. And you might be camped for a season, and that's okay, because the Lord's working with you. It could be a hurt that has blocked your path like a downed tree. Or maybe the loss of a loved one has kind of washed away that path like a raging river. And what about all that baggage you're carrying with you? Is it time to leave some behind? Lighten your load so you can jump across that ravine? Follow the directions of your guide. He will show you the way. So stay connected to the Lord. Don't judge others because you don't know what step they're on or what they need to take. So after that, what's next? Well, it's time to stay focused. So the last little bit of that devotional reads, if my child would seek to please me above all else, fear of others' judgments would vanish, as would attempts to impress others. Focus your attention on the path just ahead of you and on the one who never leaves your side. So stay focused on your path. Don't worry about the path next to you. That's somebody else's to walk. Stay focused on your path and on the one who's guiding you. And your fear of what others will think will vanish. Because it's almost like you're putting blinders on. And you're just walking forward, walking with the Lord. In Proverbs 29:25 it reads, fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. Again, put those blinders on. Don't let the person next to you intimidate you or cause you to fear what they may think. Keep your focus on the Lord, and he will keep you safe. And also in Psalms 23:4 it reads, even though I walk through the darkest valley, or you can also say the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So even when I'm walking through a tunnel and it's dark, and I don't know which way to go, if there's a turn up ahead, as long as I keep my eyes focused on the Lord, he's going to be right there with me, and we're going to get through it together, and we're going to come out safe on the other side. You know, I could have let fear rule my decision on that Friday night. My fear almost drove me home. But I put my trust in the Lord, and he never disappoints. So if the idea of climbing a mountain is a little bit scary to you, that's okay. You can think of your journey more like a 1,000-piece puzzle. And instead of a step, it's just one piece at a time. And the pieces of your life are all spread out on the table. You can't see what those pieces are because he hasn't revealed them to you yet. But the first thing you need to do is you need to find that corner piece, the cornerstone of your life, which is Jesus. And he will guide you to that next piece, and that next piece, and the next one. And some spots, they might be a little bit harder to put together, but just keep at it, just that one piece at a time. Because all those steps, all those pieces are predestined to work together. So stay connected to the Creator, and those pieces, stay connected to the Creator of those pieces, the author of our lives, and we'll all get there. See, we're all on the same journey, the same 1-foot journey from our hearts to our heads. It's moving from what we feel to what we know, and from what we know to what we love and desire, our purpose in life. So if you've taken step 1, congratulations, that's awesome. You're on the journey. It's time to get climbing or start putting those pieces together. Because your royal mountain awaits, as you are now the child of the King of Kings.